Hey guys, I'm Maryam. Welcome back to my channel. Here is the look I prepared for you today. A shimmery gunmetal smoky blown out wing, a little more dramatic than your typical cat eye. I'll also be showing you my luminous skin routine using my faves from the Estee Edit. This eye look is pretty edgy, so I paired it with super approachable modern nude lips and clean glowing skin. So let's get started. To begin, I'm taking my Radiance Activator to treat, prep, and illuminate my skin. I'm applying it to the perimeter of my face, avoiding the T-zone. For my T-zone, I'm using the Pore Vanishing Stick and applying it to all my porous areas from the center outwards. I like to call it a sun rays pattern. Then I'm just blending out the edges of this primer. For foundation, I'm taking the Estee Edit Skin Glowing Balm, first in the shade Chai, then I'm applying it using a sponge. I like to start with my trouble zones, or the areas that need the most coverage, then gradually distribute the product from there. Since my forehead needs the least coverage, I just use whatever is remaining on the sponge. Next, I'm concealing my imperfections, brightening my under eye, and taking the same sponge to blend it all together for a seamless natural finish. Picking up the Skin Glowing Balm in the shade Amber, which is a tad darker than my skin tone, I'm just using it to softly contour under my cheekbones and the sides of my forehead for a very subtle contour. Time for that glow. I'm taking the Flash Illuminator, probably one of my favorite products, and starting with the lighter shade, Spotlight, I'm adding it to the high points. And then I'm taking the deeper shade, Nightlight, and adding it to the areas I contoured. And then I'm gently blending it out, starting with the lighter shade, then going to the darker shade. If you're oily like me, now's a good time to set your foundation. And because I'm going for a very natural, glowy finish, I'm avoiding the areas that I highlighted. Bronzing time. Do you see how gorgeous this bronzer is? What I love the most about this product is the shade. It has a red clay undertone, which makes for a very believable tan. So instead of contouring with it, I sweep it right across the areas where the sun would hit naturally. So for the cheekbones, I'm applying it slightly higher than where I would contour, and I'm also skipping blush. For the final touch on the skin, I'm adding the Flash Illuminator Powder Highlighter in the shade Heat, which gives me so much life. Love this one. I'm also adding it to the nose bridge and the Cupid's bow for that ultimate glow. Alright, moving on to the second part of this tutorial, the eyes. And starting with the brows, I'm using the super versatile crayon in the shade Espresso to color my brow hairs and also extend my brow shape. And then I'm just taking a spoolie and blending everything out. Highlighting under the brow not only brings light to the brow bone, but also cleans up the brow shape. Taking the double-sided Inside Track Eye Kajal in Extreme Black, I'm starting to outline my basic cat eye shape. I love using this product for this step because it is very precise yet soft and smudges easily. Then I'm taking a small smudger brush and I'm just softening the line to make sure that it isn't too harsh. And then I'm dragging the product back to sort of sketch out the shape. Filling in the shape with the edgiest kohl in Black Viper, and this is sort of a shadow stick, so it's very easy to use. And then I'm taking the same brush and I'm just filling it in to the edge. For the inner portion, I'm using the edgiest kohl in Frostbite, which is a beautiful silver, and I'm keeping the shape contained under the fold, under my natural crease. Next, I'm tightlining with the Inside Track Kajal, and this is a tricky part, but it makes all the difference. Going back with the black kohl crayon to blend the transition between the silver, and then I'm taking the silver crayon and I'm doing the same thing backwards. This is how you get that seamless gradient using shadow sticks. For the inner corner, I'm using the edgiest kohl in Gilt, just highlighting the tear duct, making it pop. For the waterline, I'm going back with the Inside Track Eye Kajal, just flipping it to the gunmetal side. For the lower lash line, I'm using the edgiest kohl in the shade Jaded. This is such a pretty shade, and I think it makes a really big difference in this look. You can kind of see it coming together now. Time for my favorite part, the metallic shadow in Black Star. I'm flipping the cap and dipping my finger into the cream, then I'm placing it to the center of my lid. Then I'm removing the cap, and I'm picking up the glittery powder shadow with a brush. And this is where the look comes alive. Look at that gorgeous pigment. By the way, applying pigment over a sticky base totally avoids fallout, so this is a genius product. For the lashes, I'm using the edgiest Up and Out Double Mascara, first the Lift and Define side for my lower lashes, and then I'm flipping it to the volume side with a totally different wand, and I'm adding just a few coats to my top lashes. You can totally stop here, but I decided to add some spiky voluminous false lashes for even more glam. And this is my final smoky winged out eye look using all products from the SD Edit. And this is the final face look, topped off with the barest lipstick in Au Naturel. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!